by being Muslim doesn't make you a terrorist by any means. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? All will see how great is our God.
Are you nervous for the future in terms of religion?
Well, I'm not nervous, but I think religion is going to be very different, at least religion, the way we see it around us these days, will become more and more aware or feel that they are part of a great design that is not authored or controlled by sort of a God the way we understand it.
So many wars and killings and ethnic cleansings have been done in the name of religion. I also think that religion is a tool of the powerful used to control the masses. And the powerful have been predominantly white males.
I'm nervous for the future because I feel that it will be one of the impetuses for clashing and division and war.
Yes, I'm nervous because I believe that there's a lot of conflict between religion, that people get very worked up about, and there's really no way to resolve it because it's like the final thing. It's like people can work out all their differences, but when it comes down to what God is to them, they can't ever seem to compromise.
I think that probably a lot of the smaller religions will start to die out and the dominant ones will start taking over.
I would say that right now is a pretty instrumental time for determining if we as a human race will become more inclusive or just more discriminatory. Because like different parts of the country are very different about this right now, and so we could really go either way. And so the optimistic part of me says that I'm not worried about it. But I would say realistically, especially given who our president is, I would be worried.
What do you think God means to kids these days, from your experience?
That's a really good question. I think the new generation and the forward is all about freedom and all about the ability to do what we want. And, you know, we're not free unless we can talk about God.
No, you're all in.
Yeah,
it's
like, let's go.
You're all in.
No, I'm not, because I think, who knows? The world is a history of progress, and I don't know why that should change. And so
I would say any of the kids who are Christians, proclaimed Christians, might have a more difficult time than those who rely on reason.
I mean, I'm worried for them all the time, but in terms whether they're followers of a certain religion or not, no. Am I worried that there might be a religious conflict that affects them? Yes. There seems to be one happening right now.
I just wonder what, I guess with the direction that, you know, our government and political climate's been going lately, I wonder if there will be a stronger like Christian influence coming in on the government.
Yeah, I am worried for my kids if we follow the footsteps of certain leaders that we have now. Especially my children, if I have girls, I would be worried about how they're included in society and treated, even within religion, because there are some religions that do not treat women well. Except, let me take that back, because I think that might be a stereotype.
I need to find God. There's like no, when you're black, there's like no religion to turn to. You know, there's no religion, man. It's like Christianity, I don't think so. White people justify slavery and segregation to Christianity, so a black Christian's like a black person with no fucking memory. Then there are Muslims, supposedly for black people, but Muslims are just a little too black for me. You know, it's kind of like being black to the 8th power. You know? They go just a bit too far. The Muslims are like, okay, it's okay to kill a guy for writing a book, but if you eat some skins, you're going to hell, right?
I think kids of color, I'm thinking now in terms of, say, black kids in this country, have a little harder, well, they have a lot harder time than other kids But I don't think that'll be true in the future. I think the whole racial thing is going to come together slowly. It'll take a while.
Look at Charlottesville. Look at police brutality against African Americans. No God is going to say a person is sinful or evil because of his race or sexuality. Only man does that.
I would be worried if the kids were of color outside of a religious conversation. Either way, it would be hard. It's harder to be non-white.
Christianity is a religion of, mostly white people that have tried to convert non-white people to it.
I would hope that would be something I would not have to worry about. I'd like to think it wouldn't be, but I don't know.
Yes. Because I think in our country, anyone of color automatically has like bigger barriers that they have to cross than white children, and that's obviously a big problem that we have, and I would be more concerned for them.
But they hold up these signs that say God hates gay people. Oh, what? At a military funeral? Please, first of all, God doesn't hate gay people, okay? God doesn't hate anyone. That's his whole thing. God doesn't even hate me. I mean, he's disappointed in me, but he doesn't hate me. If anything, I hate gay people, okay? I mean, I spent years and years working to destroy urban neighborhoods through drugs, violence, and poverty. And then these gays swoop in, right, and they clean everything up, and suddenly there's cupcake shops and candle stores everywhere. And you know what? They're so nice, too. Oh, I tell you, I hate them, but I can't stay mad at them.
The answer is, I think they do kind of on paper, but I think a lot of people don't really live the principles. The basic rule in Christianity, which is the same in almost all religions, is the golden rule. I don't think a lot of people live that way.
That's a tricky question. I would say that white Christians do a very good job of normalizing Christian behavior and standards, and also using that platform to demonize anything that's outside of that purview, which includes a lot of liberal ideas and inclusion, people who believe in inclusion. But do they represent themselves well as far as holding to the tenets of Jesus or the Old Testament? Absolutely not.
I think that people who try to explain their religion and stand up for their religion and act in a way that represents their religion mostly do a good job of that, but there's a lot of hypocrisy as well.
They're probably giving it a decent portrayal of what it actually is, and like in the media and all that stuff.
I think religion is represented super badly. For example, like, especially in our country, anytime there's like a terrible connection between being Muslim and being a terrorist, which actually, like, Muslim religion, like Islam preaches non-violence, and so by being Muslim doesn't make you a terrorist by any means. And it's not like, for another example, like, not all Catholics just hate people that get abortions, so those are like some common misconceptions, and I think that people just kind of keep that with them. Even if they know it's not true, they just think it's easier to categorize people by their religion, and if that's negative, then it's negative, and they just continue with that perception.
Everybody fighting over this religious shit. You understand me? The Christians say Jesus is the messenger. The Muslims say it's Muhammad. I say, who gives a fuck who the messenger is? Did you get the message? They got the same damn message. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Science proves that to be a fact. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Don't fuck with me, and I won't fuck with you.
Just be aware of the awesomeness of the world and the incredible beauty that's there. Be open to it. And if you can, search it out. So that's done by reading, by traveling, by talking. But it's also a mental attitude. Just be accepting, tolerant, and curious.
real optimist, and when I think of the future, I think we will all someday become enlightened and replace religion with a humanitarian ethic that will encourage and demand that we all be the best humans we can be. A belief in an all-powerful God will be replaced by a belief in humanity that can come together to solve our problems and give comfort and help to those who are in need.
Christians or people who are believers in the Bible should read the Bible, should understand the tenets of Christianity, understand what it is they're professing they believe. Education is the answer.
You just have to accept the fact that other people are going to believe different things to you. That's okay. And that it doesn't mean you have to kill them or that they have to fear you, or that just because their God is different than your God doesn't mean that you can't get along. You just have to put that part aside and accept that difference, because if you don't, your life's going to be miserable.
We need to improve our education of religion within our public school system, because I learned about religion for about a week in 7th grade. Just creating more awareness would just ultimately lead to more acceptance, because no religion is inherently bad, and a lot of them go back to the same core values.
I've often said if we could possibly rid the world of all religions, we might have a chance for peace.
The first is that God is better than the world's best thing. God is better than the best thing that the world has to offer.